Hello everyone, welcome to part 4 of Scrum Guide explanation. In today's video, I will be explaining you the Scrum team, the roles and responsibilities of the Scrum team. In the previous parts of this Scrum Guide explanation video series, I have already covered the Scrum definition, Scrum theory, Scrum pillars and the Scrum values. And I would recommend you to go through those videos if you have not already been through. And in this video we'll discuss the Scrum team roles and responsibilities. So to start with, the fundamental unit of Scrum is a small team of people, a Scrum team. The Scrum team consists of one Scrum Master, one product owner and developers. Within a Scrum team there are no sub-teams or hierarchies. It is a cohesive unit of professionals focused on one objective at a time, the product goal basically. So what are they telling here is the basic unit of the Scrum is a Scrum team, which consists of one Scrum Master, one product owner and developers. When we say developers here, developers are the individuals with various skills and competencies. Like it could include developers, testers, designers, BAs and other roles that are needed to deliver the product basically. And within the Scrum team there are no sub teams, so there is no separate development team or a separate testing team or a separate design team. All the developers, testers and the designers will work together as a single team towards the same product goal. So that is what is mentioned here. So everyone are part of a single team, which is called as the Scrum team. Now Scrum teams are cross-functional, meaning that the members have all the skills necessary to create value each sprint. They are also self-managing, meaning they internally decide who does what, when and how. So a cross-functional team refers to a group of individuals with diverse skills and expertise which is necessary to complete the software project or the product development. And this team is generally self-organizing and self-managing, and they are empowered to make the decisions collectively. So when it comes to the self-management, the team would collectively decide on how to distribute the work and ensure that each team member is contributing to the work. Now the Scrum team is small enough to remain nimble and large enough to complete significant work within a sprint, typically 10 or fewer people. In general, we have found that smaller teams communicate better and are more productive. If Scrum teams become too large, they should consider reorganizing into multiple cohesive Scrum teams, each focused on the same product. Therefore, they should share the same product goal, product backlog, and product owner. The ideal size of the Scrum team is 10 or fewer people. If you think that your project requires more members, if to complete the project you need 10, the number of a smaller Scrum team with 10 people will not be sufficient and more developers are required for completing the project. In such case, it is recommended that you create multiple Scrum teams, like having two different Scrum teams who can then have Scrum of Scrum to integrate the final product. All of them will together work towards the same product goal, and they'll have the same product backlog and the product owner, but the sprint backlog would be different, and whatever increment they are generating as part of those sprints, so they will integrate in the Scrum of Scrum. So that is what it is suggested here. And why it is suggested to have a smaller Scrum team? The main reason is communication. Communication is very important aspect of Scrum team, because the team members will work together very closely. They will share knowledge with each other. They'll support each other with any technical or any other issues, and they ensure the smooth workflow by reducing the dependencies. So this is only possible when they are interacting with each other and communicating with each other on a regular basis, and they are working with each other closely. So imagine if you have a team of 20 to 25 members. So in that case, that connection, that contact and interaction becomes difficult. Whereas if you have a smaller team, then the communication and interaction is quite easier. So that is the reason that it is suggested to have a smaller team. Now, the Scrum team is responsible for all product related activities from stakeholder collaboration, verification, maintenance, operation, experimentation, research, and development, and anything else that might be required. They are structured and empowered by the organization to manage their own work. Working in sprint at a sustainable pace improves the Scrum team's focus and consistency. Now, here they are telling that the Scrum team is responsible for doing almost all product related activities from stakeholder collaboration, verification, operation, maintenance, development, and anything else that is required in the product development process. So, that is why it is important that we should have a cross functional team. Now, by bringing these individuals with different skills and perspective together will help promoting the innovation, and they would come up with some problem solving or holistic approach for project delivery. There's a chance, and the cross functional team would, in a way, they would reduce the hands off bottlenecks and the communication barrier that are often seen in the traditional models. So that's why it is important to have the cross functional team, and so that they can perform multiple activities as a part of the product development process. And also they are structured and empowered by organization to manage their own work. Means these teams, the Scrum team would be generally empowered to make decision and adapt to changing requirements. They can also choose how to accomplish their work, allowing flexibility and creativity in finding the best solution. So that is what is expected when we are forming the Scrum team, right? Now, the entire Scrum team is accountable for creating a valuable, useful increment every sprint. Scrum defines three specific accountabilities within the Scrum team: the developers, the product owner, and the Scrum master. As I mentioned in the beginning only it is mentioned that the Scrum team consists of one product owner, one Scrum master, and the developers. Now, all of them together are accountable for creating a useful increment every sprint to reach the product goal. So every sprint they must create a useful increment or a useful milestone for accomplishing the product goal, and it is not the responsibility of only the developers but the entire Scrum team, including the Scrum master and the product owner. Now, each and every role here that is defined in the Scrum team have specific responsibilities which is discussed here. Like for the developers are the people in the Scrum team that are committed to creating any aspect of a usable increment each sprint. Now, who are the developers? So developers are the group of programmers, writers, and designers, and the others who work on the project, and they are also the ones with the required skills for building the product. So any aspect of the usable increment or the useful work would be created by the developers in each sprint. That is what is mentioned here. The specific skills needed by the developers are often broad and will vary with the domain of work. However, the developers are always accountable for. Okay, so based upon the project requirement or the product requirement, the specific skill set needed by the developers will vary. Let's say if the product that is being built is mm, requires some Java developers. In that case, we will have the people, Java developers and testers. We will need the developers and testers with the specific skills. But if the product is about the data visualizations, in that case, we'll need the PI developers and testers. So based upon the product requirement, the specific skills would vary. But when it comes to Scrum framework, there are some specific accountabilities which the developers would always be accountable for or always be responsible for. So what are those? Like creating a plan for the sprint backlog. The developers would create a plan for achieving the sprint goal. So in Scrum, each sprint has a specific objective that the team sets together with the PO during the sprint planning. For example, that let's say that your sprint goal is to develop a login page for the application. Now, it is up to these developers, or it is up to the development team to determine how they want to achieve this objective of developing the login page. They can add the relevant tasks in the sprint backlog, which is required to complete or achieve the sprint goal, and they can create the sprint backlog. So that is how they're responsible for creating a plan for the sprint and creating the sprint backlog. So tasks are nothing but the list of work for the sprint that the team would be working on. And next is instilling quality by adhering to a definition of done. So it means maintaining quality of the work by sticking to the definition of done. So whatever work that the team is performing as part of the sprint, they need to make sure that make they are producing a quality product, or they are producing a quality, they are maintaining the quality of the work. So how they can do that? By sticking to the definition of done. So what is definition of done is, it is the list of criteria that must be met before a user story or the requirement can be released to the users. So a kind of checklist which can include, like, if the all test cases are executed successfully, if the documentation related to work has been completed or not, if the QA defects has been fixed or not, if the performance testing has been performed and or not. So all these checklist points would be there, and if these checklist points are completed, then only the product or the work done by the team would be released to the users. So that's how they will make sure that they are maintaining the quality of the work that they are producing in front of the users, or they are demoing to the users or releasing to the users. So next one is adapting their plan each day toward the sprint goal. Now the team should inspect and adapt through the daily scrum. The team should inspect progress towards the sprint goal, and if there are any blockers or changes required, then they should adapt to the changes and start working on it. If there are any blockers, then they should work on it as soon as possible. That is what is expected from the team. Holding each other accountable as professionals. In Scrum, an individual is never solely responsible for the outcome of the sprint. Whether it is a good outcome or a bad result, it is entire team's accountability. Team accountability will put the responsibility for giving credit as a whole, not as an outside manager or the individual contributor. So everyone together as professionals are responsible for completing the work as part of the sprint or the entire product development cycle. Now, next one is the product owner. The product owner is accountable for maximizing the value of the product resulting from the work of the Scrum team. How this is done may vary widely across the organization, Scrum teams, and individuals. The product owner is also accountable for effective product backlog management, which includes, okay. So who's the product owner? In Scrum, the product owner develops the product's technical and conceptual layout. They come up with the idea of what to build and then communicate that blueprint to the development team. So basically, product owners are the voice of customer, and their job is to consider customer needs and communicate those needs to the development team. So and how it would be done by the product owner would vary widely from organization to organization, or from the Scrum teams. Different Scrum teams will work in a different way. The product owners of the different Scrum teams would work in a different way. Now the product owner is also accountable for effective product backlog management. It is it is the responsibility of the product owner completely. The product backlog management. What is a product backlog? A list of requirements that the team would work upon to meet the product goal, and developing and explicitly communicating the product goal. So the product owner is responsible for the product goal and the roadmap. The product owner holds overall product vision. So they are in charge of defining how to best reach the vision and refining the product roadmap basically. The product backlog is like it is the detailed list of potential product features or the product issues that needs to be resolved, and it is created by the PO only, and the PO is responsible for prioritizing it and for sharing it with the development team. So that is what is being mentioned in all 4 points here, that the developing and explicitly communicating the product goal to the entire team, and then creating and clearly communicating the product backlog items. First, product goal is like an objective. What the end result of the product is going to be. So that vision the product owner will be having. So that's why the product owner will communicate that objective and vision to the entire team members so that they also have the understanding of it. And um, post that, the product owner, based upon that vision and objective, the product owner will have the list of product backlog, which is the list of requirements that the team would work on in order to complete the product goal. And that list of requirements again would be created by the product owner only and would be communicated by the product owner only to the team, so that the team understands what exactly is the requirement. And ordering it means prioritizing the list of requirement, ordering the product backlog. Prioritization is very important, which item needs to be done first, which requirement needs to be completed first and or to be worked upon first. That prioritization is important. This also would be done by the product owner only. Ensuring that the product backlog is transparent, visible and understood, and product owner needs to make sure that everyone in the team understands the product backlog and it is transparent and visible to everyone in the team, including the stakeholders. So that is the responsibility of product owner. Now the product owner may do the above work or may delegate the responsibility to others. Regardless, the product owner remains accountable. What is being told here, that product owner by himself, he can do all the activities that are mentioned above, the product backlog, refinement, management, and communication. He can do it by himself, or he can delegate his responsibilities to someone else from the team. The PO may decide like to deliver certain choices to the other teams in the to the others in the Scrum team in order for them to focus on more important matters. Generally, the PO would be working on multiple things, so he would be communicating with the customers also and the stakeholders also, and then uh, uh, there would be multiple product aspects that he would be responsible for. So sometimes when the team becomes matured enough that they understand how to maintain the product backlog and how to deploy things and how to plan the release, all those things. So in such cases, to the mature team, it is okay that the product owner should can delegate some of his responsibilities to the Scrum team itself. But if it is a new team, in that case, the accountability would be with the product owner only. Um, Still, after delegation also, even if the team is matured enough, the accountability will remain with the product owner only, but just he can delegate some of his responsibilities to the Scrum team. That is what is being mentioned here. Like he can ask the team to maintain the product backlog, or like look for the deployment choices that the team thinks of, that way. Now, next one is for product owners to succeed, the entire organization must respect their decisions. These decisions are visible in the content and ordering of the product backlog and through the inspectable increment at the sprint review. The entire organization and the team must respect the choices made by the product owner, because the product owner is empowered with the decision making authority and all the aspects of the product, including like the release schedule, budget, order of the backlog architecture and technology. So for all these things, the product owner has that has that authority to make the decisions related to um, these things. And it is important that the entire organization and the team should respect his choices and decisions. And if he's making any wrong decisions also, that would be visible in the form of in the prioritization of product backlog and through the inspectable increment during the sprint review. In the sprint review, inspection would be done by the stakeholders. So if any decisions have gone wrong by the product owner, it would be reflected through the sprint events only, and improvements can be done in the later sprints, in the future sprints. And that is what is being told here. Next is the product owner is one person, not a committee. The product owner may represent the needs of many stakeholders in the product backlog. Those wanting to change the product backlog can do so by trying to convince the product owner. Now, product owner here is a single person, and he would be communicating with the multiple stakeholders. There is a chance he would communicate with the multiple stakeholders, and multiple stakeholders would come with their multiple different opinions. But at the end, it is the decision of the product owner how to maintain the product backlog and what he wants to keep in there. And if someone from the stakeholders want the product owner to include something in the product backlog, then they can try convincing them. But at the end, it would be his responsibility, and he would be the decision maker, I would say. Next is the roles and responsibilities of the Scrum Master. So, what is the roles and responsibilities of the Scrum Master? We'll be seeing in this section here. The Scrum Master is accountable for establishing Scrum as defined in the Scrum Guide. They do this by helping everyone understand Scrum theory and practice, both within the Scrum team and the organization. The Scrum Master is accountable for Scrum team's effectiveness. They do this by enabling Scrum team to improve its practices within the Scrum framework. Now, who's a Scrum Master? Scrum Master is a facilitator of Scrum who ensures the Scrum framework is followed. The Scrum has clearly defined set of rules and rituals that should be followed, and the Scrum Master works with each team member of the Scrum team to guide and coach the team through Scrum framework. Basically, the Scrum Master performs multiple tasks, like they will facilitate the stand-ups, they'll facilitate the sprint planning, then they'll protect the team from overcommitting or scope creeps, and they'll help the team with estimations and subtask creation. So overall, the Scrum Master has multiple responsibilities, and they are accountable for the Scrum team's effectiveness through facilitating the team, basically. Now, Scrum Masters are true leaders who serve the Scrum team and the larger organization. So, the Scrum Master would serve the Scrum team in multiple ways, like they will participate in the meeting and capture the feedback during the sprint reviews. And in the sprint retrospectives, the Scrum Master would note the areas for the improvement and action items for the future sprints. Similarly, and they will also work on administrating the scrum boards and ensure that all the stories are up to date. They will also conduct one-on-ones with the stakeholders, product owners, and the team whenever needed. Similarly, they'll do the regular analysis of the burn down charts, and they'll help the team with any blockers and by eliminating the blockers. So in a way, they are working as a true leaders, but they are serving the team as the leader. So and that is why the Scrum Master is also called as a servant leader. The Scrum Master serves the Scrum team in several ways, including, so the Scrum Master, as I mentioned, the Scrum Master is serving the Scrum team, entire team. So he's serving the Scrum team. It means the developers. The Scrum Master would serve the product owner. The Scrum Master would also serve the entire organization. Now, there are different ways in which the Scrum Master would serve the developers, product owner, and the organization. That is what is mentioned here. First of all, how the Scrum Master would serve the developers. And this is Scrum team, the developers, coaching the team members in self management and cross functionality. Means coaching the team, means like the Scrum Master can organize some skills workshop where they can share and perform the activities, different activities, and the team members can be paired with each other to learn from each other. If they are having different skills, they can be paired together, and they can learn each other's skills, and close if there are any gaps. Also, the Scrum Master should create a safe and transparent environment where the team can share their ideas, opinions, and concerns, and enable the team to communicate effectively with customers and other teams. Or and within themselves as well. So if the team members want to learn something from the other teams also, the Scrum Master can facilitate certain meetings or set up certain meetings for the team, or they want to learn something within themselves, they should encourage, the Scrum Master should encourage the team members to by pairing them up to learn from each other, and also to get more idea about the product which the team is working on. The Scrum Master should encourage the team to communicate with the customer on the regular basis. So that's how he's helping the team in the self management and cross functionality. Next point is helping the Scrum team focus on creating high value increments that meet the definition of done. Now, the Scrum Master should encourage the team to pay attention on quality of the work by reminding them of their work is meeting definition of done or not. In the daily scrums, the Scrum Master can encourage the team to inspect and adapt if any changes are needed to meet the definition of done. So that's how the high value increments can be produced, and Scrum team can remain focused. So time to time, Scrum Master has to remind them that to keep check on the quality of the work that they are performing. Causing the removal of impediments of the Scrum team's progress. Help the team with the blockers. If the team is facing any blockers within the team or outside the team, the Scrum Master should help with them to resolve those impediments. It is the responsibility, a common responsibility of the Scrum Master, that he should help the team with any impediments that they are facing during the sprint. Ensuring that all the Scrum events take place and are positive, productive, and kept within the time box. Now, so typically the Scrum Masters would facilitate all the sprint events like Scrum events, and Scrum Master needs to plan in advance for each event to keep the events. Each and every event is time boxed event. It has a specific time box within which the event needs to be completed, and to keep it time boxed, the Scrum Master needs to plan in advance. Like he needs to plan if he needs to think in a way like if the attendees understand the purpose of the meeting, and he needs to decide the structure of the event and how to stay focused during the event. So all these things he need to plan in advance so that he can keep the event time boxed. Now, how the Scrum Master serves the product owner. Next is the Scrum Master serves the product owner in several ways. First one is helping find techniques for effective product goal definition and product backlog management. So it is important to set a product goal and review and maintain the product backlog at regular intervals. The Scrum Master can help the product owner with different approaches to order or prioritize the product backlog, and the Scrum Master can facilitate the workshop on defining the product goal and product backlog management. Sometimes it happens that the product owner is new and they do not understand. They might be new to the Scrum framework or the Agile way of working, and they might not understand the importance of the product backlog and the product goal. So, in such cases, the Scrum Master can help the product owner with the product backlog management by telling them or coaching them with the different product backlog prioritization techniques, and also they can help them define the product goal by telling them what exactly is the product goal and how it should look like. Just giving them the example by coaching them in help in defining the product goal. Next one is helping the Scrum team understand the need for clear and concise product backlog items, ensuring that during the sprint planning the Scrum team is aware of the why, what, and how of upcoming sprint, ensuring the stories picked up meets the definition of ready criteria, and tying the product backlog items with the definition of done. For example, with the question how the team would know the product backlog item is done. So the Scrum Master can ask such type of questions to the team during the sprint planning to make them understand, give them the clear understanding of the product backlog item. Sometimes it happens that the team based upon their previous experiences, sometimes they will just try to uh, estimate the user stories that are coming in, but there will be some aspects of the user story which the team might not be thinking about. Let's say the developer will think only from the development point of view, and he will estimate the story based upon the development time that is required, and he'll not think from the tester's point of view. So Scrum Master can ask such questions during the sprint planning, like if have you considered the testing time required for the during the estimation, and then also have you considered the definition of done criterias, like the definition of done criteria, uh, definition of done, as we have already discussed, like if the performance testing has been considered, if the if there are any external dependencies are there with these external dependencies related to story has been considered, if the documentation related thing has been considered. So all those things, if it has been considered or not, uh, that such type of questions the Scrum Master can ask the Scrum team and help them with understanding the product backlog items. Now, next one is helping establish empirical product planning for complex environment. So empiricism asserts that knowledge comes from experience, and this point here means taking into account that all the team learn from the previous sprints and adapt towards the next one. During the retrospective, they can identify the improvements required and work on it in the next sprint. So that is what empirical product planning for complex environment means, that a Scrum Master should make sure that the team learns from the previous sprints, and during the retrospective they can discuss on the improvements and work towards the improvement. Next one is facilitating stakeholder collaboration as requested or needed. Facilitating stakeholder meetings when needed, making sure that the product users attends the sprint reviews, ensuring transparency with the stakeholders and providing them with a clear vision on a product backlog and ordering, also helping the PO find out the right stakeholders. So these are the some of the things that the Scrum Master can help with in terms of stakeholder collaboration. Next one is how the Scrum Master serves the organization. First one is leading, training, and coaching the organization in its Scrum adoption. Um, So whether it is one-on-one coaching or outside the Scrum team, or having multiple workshops on the Scrum fundamentals across the organization, it is the responsibility of Scrum Master that they should be able to conduct multiple workshops or across the organization to coach the team and provide them the training related to the Scrum framework, or they can provide one-on-one coachings also if anyone from the organization or the team is interested in learning about it. Planning and advising Scrum implementations within the organization. How it can be done, planning and advising the Scrum implementation, like for the entire organization, doing it in one go would be difficult. It can be an evolutionary process, would say. It can start with coaching certain areas of organization by showing examples of the current team success. If the Scrum Master is working with some current team and the team is being has successfully implemented the Scrum framework, in that case the Scrum Master can showcase that example of the current team to the other organizational areas, and or the Scrum Master can establish a small Scrum studio on trial basis and let the rest of the organization see the difference in their way of working. So that is how they can help planning and advising the Scrum implementation within the organization. Next one is helping employees and stakeholders understand and enact an empirical approach for complex work. So a Scrum Master can show them the importance of the approach by gathering the data and showcasing the metrics related to it, and can also conduct clear and concise trainings related to it. So they can help the employees and stakeholders understand the empirical approach for the complex work through the matrix and reports. Next is removing barriers between stakeholders and Scrum teams. This can be done by encouraging the team to have stakeholder collaboration by facilitating meeting if required between the Scrum team and the stakeholders, or coaching the team to do that. The team itself can set up the meetings with the stakeholder, collaborate with them, because stakeholder feedback helps maximize the product value and mitigate the risk and increase the team's understanding towards the requirement, and encourage the shared understanding and trust between the stakeholders and the Scrum team. So it is important that the Scrum team and the stakeholders collaborate at the regular intervals, and the Scrum Master can help the team by encouraging the team to do that. So that is what the Scrum roles and responsibilities are about. In the next part of the video series, I will be explaining the Scrum events. So you can come back to the channel to refer to the next video. And if you have any comments or feedbacks, please let me know in the comment section, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.